The glass doors of Grand Crest Bank swung open, and Evan Carter stepped inside, carrying his 3-year-old daughter, asleep against his shoulder. His shirt was wrinkled, his eyes hollow from months of exhaustion. Around him, men in tailored suits moved with the confidence of people who had never missed a meal. Evan approached the VIP counter, his hand trembling as he pulled out a worn bank card, the only thing his wife left behind before she died. His voice barely rose above a whisper. "I just want to see my balance." No one knew what that card contained, not even him. Evan had not slept more than 4 hours in a single night for 2 months. His daughter, Lucy, woke at unpredictable hours, crying for her mother. He would hold her in the dark, whispering that everything would be okay, even though he did not believe it himself. The rent was 3 weeks overdue. The refrigerator held a carton of milk, 2 eggs, and half a loaf of bread. He had learned to skip lunch so Lucy could have dinner. Before the illness took her, his wife Sarah had worked as a medical assistant at a clinic downtown. Evan had been a freight coordinator at a shipping company, but after Sarah's diagnosis, he quit to care for her. The bills piled up faster than he could count. Insurance covered some of it. The rest became debt that followed him like a shadow. Sarah died on a Tuesday morning. The hospice nurse had left an hour earlier. Evan sat beside the bed, holding her hand, and Lucy slept in the next room. Sarah's voice was so faint he had to lean close to hear her. "Keep the card," she whispered, her fingers curling weakly around his. "Don't lose it. Promise me." He promised. He did not ask why. There was no time left for questions. After the funeral, Evan found the card in Sarah's jewelry box, tucked inside a small envelope with his name written on the front. It was a plain bank card, scratched and faded, with the logo of Grand Crest Bank embossed in silver. He had never seen it before. He turned it over in his hands, confused, but he kept it. He put it in his wallet and did not think about it again. 2 months later, he was standing in the cramped kitchen of their apartment, staring at an eviction notice taped to the door. Lucy sat on the floor nearby, playing with a stuffed rabbit that had lost one of its ears. Evan's hands shook as he read the letter. He had 5 days to pay, or they would lose the apartment. That night, after Lucy fell asleep, he emptied his wallet onto the kitchen table. $3.62, a grocery receipt, a photo of Sarah, and the card. He picked it up and stared at it. He had no idea if there was anything on it. Sarah had been sick for so long, drowning in medical expenses. There was no reason to think she had saved money, but she had told him to keep it. She had made him promise. The next morning, he dressed Lucy in the cleanest clothes she had and carried her on his shoulder. She was small for 3 years old, light enough that he barely noticed the weight anymore. He took the bus downtown, counting stops, watching the city grow taller and shinier through the window. By the time they reached the financial district, Lucy had fallen asleep against his neck. Grand Crest Bank stood on the corner of 5th and Maple, a building of glass and steel that reflected the sky. Evan had walked past it before, but never gone inside. It was the kind of place where people wore watches that cost more than his monthly rent. He hesitated at the entrance, his reflection staring back at him from the polished glass. His shirt was wrinkled, his shoes were scuffed. Lucy's hair was tangled because he had forgotten to brush it that morning. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The lobby was enormous, with marble floors and a chandelier that looked like it belonged in a palace. A woman in a navy suit passed him without a glance, heels clicking sharply against the stone. No one looked at Evan. No one looked at Lucy, asleep on his shoulder. He walked to the main counter, where a young woman with dark hair and kind eyes glanced up from her computer. Her name tag read, Elena. "Good morning," Elena said warmly. "How can I help you?" Evan shifted Lucy's weight on his shoulder and pulled the card from his pocket. He set it on the counter, his hand still trembling slightly. I need to check the balance on this, Evan said quietly. Elena picked up the card and swiped it through the machine. She frowned, then swiped it again. The screen blinked but did not respond. Hold on just a moment, Elena said. She typed something into her computer, then tilted her head, her frown deepening. This card is flagged for internal access only. I'll need to take you to the VIP services area. Evan blinked. VIP? Elena smiled gently. It's just a different system. Follow me. She led him through a set of frosted glass doors into a quieter section of the bank. The walls were lined with dark wood, and the furniture looked like it cost more than everything Evan owned. A few clients sat in leather chairs, speaking in low voices to consultants in expensive suits. Elena gestured toward a desk near the back. "Wait here, I'll get someone to help you." Evan sat down carefully, adjusting Lucy so she could rest more comfortably. He glanced around, feeling the weight of eyes on him. A man in a pinstriped suit glanced over, then looked away with barely concealed disdain. Then the door to a private office opened, and a woman stepped out. She was younger than Evan expected, maybe in her early 30s, with sharp features and hair pulled back into a sleek ponytail. She wore a black blazer and heels that made her footsteps sound like a judge's gavel. Her eyes swept over Evan, taking in his wrinkled shirt, his sleeping daughter, the exhaustion written across his face. Her expression did not change, but something cold flickered in her gaze. Elena approached her and spoke quietly, handing over the card. The woman glanced at it, then at Evan, and her lips curved into something that was not quite a smile. She walked over, her heels sharp against the floor. "I'm Victoria Hale, Senior Account Manager. Elena tells me you need help with this card." Evan nodded. "I just want to check the balance." Victoria's eyebrow arched slightly. "You don't know the balance?" "No," Evan admitted. "My wife left it for me before she passed. I've never used it." Victoria's expression remained neutral, but there was a faint trace of amusement in her eyes, the kind that people wear when they think they already know the punchline. She took the card from Elena and returned to her desk. Evan followed, still holding Lucy. Victoria sat down and gestured for Evan to sit across from her. He did, carefully, as if the chair might break under him. She inserted the card into her terminal and began typing. "So," Victoria said without looking up, "you've been carrying around a card for 2 months and never once thought to check what was on it?" Evan's jaw tightened. "I didn't think there was anything on it." Victoria's fingers flew across the keyboard. "Then why come in now?" Evan's voice was quiet. "Because I'm out of options." Victoria glanced up at him, her eyes cool and assessing. "I see." She returned her attention to the screen. The system took longer than usual to load, and for a moment, the only sound was the faint hum of the air conditioning. Evan watched her face, trying to read her expression, but she gave nothing away. Then the screen changed. Victoria froze. Her fingers stopped moving. Her eyes widened, just slightly, and the color drained from her face. She leaned forward, staring at the monitor as if it had shown her something impossible. Evan's heart began to pound. "What is it?" Victoria did not answer. She blinked, then looked at the screen again, as if expecting the numbers to change. Her hand moved to the mouse, clicking through several tabs, her movements faster now, almost frantic. Elena, standing nearby, noticed the shift. "Ms. Hale, is everything okay?" Victoria's voice came out strained, barely controlled. "Get Mr. Phillips!" Elena hesitated. "Mr. Phillips is in a meeting." "Now!" Victoria snapped. Elena hurried away. Evan leaned forward, his pulse racing. "What's wrong? Is there a problem with the card?" Victoria finally looked at him. And for the first time since he had entered the bank, there was no condescension in her eyes, only shock, and something else. Fear. "Mr. Carter," Victoria said slowly, as if choosing each word carefully. When was the last time you spoke to your wife about her finances? Evan's throat tightened. She never talked about money. We were barely scraping by. I don't understand.